Okay, Jerry, first of all, the launch of this alternative guide, tell us about what's in it.
Well, we analysed the treaty. We wanted a bit beyond the treaty, which is what the yes camp don't want. And, a very, very pertinent quote in terms of our accusation, this is exactly the same treaty as the people rejected in their referendum last year. A very, very accurate comes from the European Commission, which says, and I quote, that the commitments given to the Irish government do not change either the content or the application of the Treaty of Lisbon. So here's proof that this government is bringing forward exactly the same treaty that was rejected the last time. It was a bad treaty then, it's a bad treaty now.
When the people voted down Lisbon last year, the government went to considerable lengths to carry out research and surveys and so on, and they reassured people that they were listening, that they now understood the concerns of Irish people and that they would set about addressing them. In the time after that, it was clear for all to see that the government sat on its hands, delayed, prevaricated, apologised for the democratic decision of the Irish people, and it was only really at the 11th hour that the government made what we believe to be a very choreographed set of moves, which delivered guarantees which are so-called legally binding guarantees, but which in effect are not worth the paper that they are written on. I think it is clear that the government secured these declarations from our partners in the European Union simply to give some legitimacy in running the second referendum. Now, Jerry has set out how that is democratically disturbing. It's also very frustrating because not alone did the government know full well what the issues were, they also know what needs to be done to resolve them. When the last referendum was defeated, Sinn Féin submitted to government a list of very detailed proposals and suggestions as to how the government might remedy the deficiencies of the Lisbon Treaty. The government failed to argue the case for Ireland. They failed to honour the mandate that they had been given by the Irish people to seek changes in Lisbon. And our alternative guide, which we're launching here today, not alone identifies the problems in the Lisbon Treaty, it also clearly points up the solutions to those problems. So when government or the Yes campaign argue that it's Lisbon or bust, that it's Lisbon or chaos, they are actually being deeply dishonest, because you see, it is in the rejection of Lisbon again that the Irish people will open up the opportunity for the kinds of changes that we need, so that we can be assured in times of recession and soaring unemployment that workers' rights are not trampled on, that public services are not deregulated or privatised, that our position as a neutral is not yet again undermined. These are serious long-term issues. They merited a serious political effort on behalf of government, but the government, through its lack of will or its incompetence, failed to deliver.
Unlike the government and Fine Gael and the Labour Party, Sinn Féin is basing our arguments on the text of the treaty itself. Our posters, leaflets, and this guide in itself and the protocols of concern highlight the protocols and the areas of concern to ourselves and to the majority of the electorate. Those same articles have not changed one iota. And from the last number of weeks, it seems that the government in particular and their supporters in Fine Gael and the Labour Party are uncomfortable discussing the text of the Lisbon Treaty itself. And instead, what they have sought to do is trade on the politics of fear, threatening the loss of jobs, threatening the loss of investment and influence in Europe if the Lisbon Treaty is not passed. The surest way for this country to lose jobs and to lose investment is if Fianna Fáil remains in government. And the surest way for this state to lose influence in Europe is through the ratification of the Lisbon Treaty. We need change at home. We also need change in the European Union. And rejecting this government and rejecting this treaty means that we will secure that.
Against invested in the opinion polls at the moment. How much of an uphill struggle do you face over the next couple of weeks?
Well, the opinion polls now are exactly the same as they were at this time in the run-in to the last referendum. And I think we were part, not entirely, but we were part of really having a good debate. And one of the things I found very stimulating was citizens that I was meeting were actually engaged in their families and their workplaces and wherever they were gathering in a real debate. And the days before the referendum, I'm hopeful that's going to happen again. If people read the treaty, if people listen to the information, if they make a sensible judgment, they're bound to vote.